Hey, so I ended my last video with with me meeting somebody that would ultimately almost be the death of me. Um, like I said, I left my parents about a month after Miranda was born and went to a friend's house. I literally met this person the night that I left. Um, in the beginning, it was cool. We talked. We seemed to get along. He knew about my addiction problem and wanted to help me. Um, so he got me into a place for like 30 days down in South Carolina, that I could kind of, I guess, dry out and everything like that. Ended up being, a good and bad experience at the same time. Good because that was when I really got saved, for the first time. And I came back on Halloween that year, and I literally had my first seizure. To this day, I can't tell you why I have them, but I can tell you that they plague me. They keep me from doing things that I want to do, like drive. Um, but when I came back, um, it wasn't long after I came back that he ended up going to jail for the first time. And when he went to jail, I used that as a reason to go back out there, hang out with friends, do everything that I've been doing before. He got out in the spring the following year, and we started kind of living together, and we got married. Yeah, marriage number 3. Um, this time, it was my version of hell. Um, the arguing, the fighting began almost immediately, and then he went to jail like a month after we got married. So that became a cycle. He would go to jail, I would go to rehab when he got out. Um, it was just, revolving doors with all that. Finally, he convinced me in 2010 to get out of here. New city, new place, new people. Maybe I'll change. Oh, when I did that, not only was I saying goodbye to my hometown, but I had to say goodbye to my daughter. She was a little over a year old by this time, and I signed full custody of her to my parents because I knew I couldn't take her with me. I knew that it wasn't, safe. I didn't really know where I was going or what I was doing, um, once I got down there. So I signed custody to my parents, and I literally cried the entire way down there. When I got there, within like a month's time, I was in a deep depression. I was getting beat a lot because he and I were actively drinking and using very, very hard. Um, yeah, it was pure hell. At one point, my mother came down there to rescue me, and I had to lie to her and the cops. They knew I was lying because, when you get touched on the back and you flinch, they know something's not right. But I lied, said I was okay. Um, I had to lie to my mother and, tell her I was okay. But I did. Um, yeah, he ended up going back to jail while we were down there. And so I took the opportunity to come home once and for all. I came home. Um, I had the mentality of wanting to get my life better. But lo and behold, he gets out. And there I go back. I guess I'm glutton for punishment at this point. But we spent months arguing, fighting, using, and abusing each other. Anything we get our hands on, it didn't matter. At one point, we started arguing at a place that we were both taking classes at. And a lady came out, tried to stop the fight, and I bluntly told her I was going to take her out. I did not mean out for steak or ice cream. That resulted in me leaving, us leaving, Um, and that night I almost died. I may have actually flatlined at one point. I've been told I did. I don't know. But I ended up in ICU. When I went to ICU, um, I don't really remember how many days I was in there, a couple of days. But I remember the psychiatrist coming in there and telling me that I was going to go to a mental institution. And I was, I'm not crazy. I just went through a horrible experience. But nonetheless, I went having it. And I'd already told my daughter I'd see her the next day because that's initially what I was told to begin with. So when he told me that I would not be going home and wanted to send me to a mental institution, I did something and I went to jail for 9 days. When I went to jail, I sat there and I thought about everything that I had done. And when I got out, I was like, I want to change. So I went home, back to my parents' house, because in reality, even though I hated being there, that's the only safe home I had at this point. And I did okay for a little while. And then he got out, and back down that road again we go. This point, I don't think it could have got much worse. I mean, obviously, I could have made it through it, but I don't really think it could have got much worse. It lasted for several months. Everything did, but he eventually went to prison, and I took that opportunity to completely get away from him. I asked for divorce the day he went to prison. I received it in February of 2012, I believe, which opened doors to a whole new world. So, and that's what I'll talk about next. Thanks for letting me share. Have a good day.